Watching TV has changed over time. Streaming has become the new norm. That's why Golden State Media Concepts television podcast dives headfirst to the world of cord cutting. Want to be on the loop of what's hot in Netflix? Or if it's not a preference, what about original shows in Hulu? We've got you covered. Join us as we fill in the blanks and talk about movies to stream and what show you should be binging. This is the Golden State Media Concepts television podcast.
Greetings, good people of the planet Earth and the known universe. You're listening to GSMC's television podcast. Captain Keith, and on deck today for television, as I told you before. So I binged watching. I finished Beyond the Pole on the UMC TV network. So I want to talk about that. But I'm going to go back, and we're also going to talk about Haven. You can watch it on Netflix. It's an excellent TV series based off of The Colorado Kid, which is a Stephen King book or short story. Can't remember, but it's from Stephen King. And Deputy Chief Inspector John Luther. That's right. Luther season 5. We finally got it this year. And boy, was it worth the wait. BBC America. Oh yeah, BBC. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that too with Mr. Idris Elba. So let's get to it. Alrighty. So Beyond the Pole. So I was telling you it's a new TV series on the Urban Movie Channel. UMC.tv is the website to go to check it out. That's the network. It's a new network. I like it. I like the programming. Never thought I'd be watching a TV show that was about strippers, but I loved it. I can't wait for season 2. And I say that because I just didn't think I would be interested. But from the trailer to the show, it was totally intriguing, compelling, happy and sad all at the same time. So like a great story, right? Yeah. So, I mean, but the difference is this is apparently people's lives. So, and I want to get into that too a little later on when I finish talking about this show and wrapping it up. So 6 episodes. My biggest complaint is that I wish I could have had like 10 episodes. I'm dying to see what kind of footage was put on the floor, or was cut. Was not used. Any extra footage. The behind the scenes were great. The interviews they did with the different cast members were great. Man, like I told you last week, I love the real talk when they're in the dressing room. The girls are just talking about, usually sex and their views on men and dating and what men should be doing and what they're not doing and what kind of men they like. It's great because, a lot of times as guys, you don't necessarily hear those thoughts that, so, you're not privy to that information. So, we're all the fly on the wall. That was great. I loved that. I was cracking up. It was a lot of it was very humorous and very enlightening. So the show, as I said before, is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 girls who are strippers, who have aspirations for other things. Lily, Ling, Miss Diamond, Labrie, Angel Cake with a K, and Lena. And their mentor, one of the main stars of the show, is Stormy Wellington, who was a former stripper who's now a multimillionaire businesswoman, who has helped other people thrive and become millionaires as well. She lives very well. As I said before, that one of the descriptions, they said that she was like a pit bull in a skirt. So, yeah, you can kind of say that. Her goal is to guide these girls to financial freedom. So now, and this is all based out of like Atlanta, I believe. Yeah, in Atlanta. So now here's the thing that I thought was very interesting is that I was talking to a friend of mine about this show after I finished watching it. And the ending wasn't what I expected it to be, but it was still a good ending. I just, so when you start watching the show, I guess, I start rooting for all these girls to achieve their dreams, to achieve their aspirations. Because, whether you're stripping or just doing any type of job that you don't really want to be doing or that you feel like you're stuck in, if you have another dream, another passion that is you, and you want to be free to do that, because it's going to make you happier, that's where, we all want to be if you're in that situation. And there's a lot more people. At the end of the day, the ladies going to the club and stripping, it's a job. Do they have fun at the job? Sometimes, yes. But most of the time, maybe not, because, they have to give the house their cut, and then whatever's left is theirs. And so, it's always a numbers game for these ladies. And if you're a mom, single mom, and you're doing this, and you may even have another job, that could be stressful. So you got to come out on this floor. You got to smile, make nice, and make these men feel like they're important. I don't know if I could do it, I just, wow. Yeah, so admiration in that regard, definitely. Because it's not, you have to be a people person, literally. It is customer service. Don't get it twisted. Don't think like it's not, because it is. But so what happens later on in the season that I noticed is that the girls start to open up more about their lives. Like I said, you see Angel Cake and her son. I believe his name is Jace, and she's very loving with him, and I got to really like her character. Very sweet, very soft-spoken person, very honest, and you can see that she has a modeling line, and that she has a fashion line that she wants to get off the ground. And what's cool about her is that, she's not someone who feels threatened by other women. So, like, she reaches out to Ling Ling, and she's like, would you model for me, for this shoot? I'd love to have you in my line. I think you'd be perfect for it. And Angel Cake tells, the audience, the viewers, that, this line is for everybody, whether you're big, small, short, tall. She wants women to feel like they can own these clothes and have a good time wearing them and like them. And Ling Ling's like, hey, thank you for thinking of me, and I appreciate it. And of course I'll do it. So she does that, and you just get to see that Angel is very serious about wanting to have his business get up off the ground. She doesn't want to strip anymore, and she's even given herself a date on when she's supposed to stop stripping, because she's trying to manifest this and make it into a reality. So I really respected seeing that and enjoyed watching her with her photographer, who's worked with other people in the industry, go over different shots and how they want things to look. So you got to see the entrepreneur, the businesswoman. So if you were just tuning in online and watch this show, you'd look at her, you wouldn't think, oh, she's a stripper. You'd think, oh, okay, this is the fashion designer, and this is someone who's interesting. She's both. So, and then Miss Diamond is really interesting too, because like she works at the hospital. She's got a master's degree. She's a teacher, and she likes to strip. So, and she has a child, a teenage daughter who she doesn't want to be a stripper. I like Miss Diamond, but I felt like there was a lot of hypocrisy with her character, because, she was basically raised by her father, and the father's like, you have to obey my rules. And she's like, no, I'm going to go out in the street. So she chose to go out into the street and do some things that she knew her father wouldn't approve of. She made a choice to be a stripper. That was never a last resort. So in her mind, she wants to show people, don't stereotype strippers. I'd rather have you learn that I'm a stripper after you see me professionally in the workplace first, in corporate America. Her goal is to create this wig company where she makes wigs for, leukemia and cancer patients, for young girls, to make them feel better about themselves. She wants to market that and sell that to the hospitals. So that's her business. It's not, and she's doing a nonprofit thing. There's an episode where, they're like celebrating, I guess, Thanksgiving, and they're giving out turkeys. So that happens. So now another thing that I liked about this too is that you get to see the humanity of, the girls. Like I said, you really do start to root for them when you see who they are, where they're from, and what they've gone through. Because, what you find out is that all that glitters isn't gold, and their lives aren't, you watch the music video, you think it's glamorous. Oh, I can be a stripper, I can make money, but there's more to it than that. And you find out that these are real people with real problems and real issues that they have to deal with. And you get hooked because you're like, wow, I didn't know you were going through all that. So I'll just say that you find out some things about some people that you're just like, your mouth kind of drops because you didn't know that they had to deal with certain things. So what I'm saying is that some people, there's some members of the cast that may, they hide what they're going through very well until there's a moment where they don't have to hide it anymore. And when they don't hide it anymore, it was one of the best decisions they made because the other person that they speak to about everything, it's sincere. And very receptive to what's going on with this person. So that's all going on. I told you there was a blowout they had with Stormy Wellington when they had her over, when she had the girls over for her mixer at an Airbnb. Lily didn't get along with her, and neither did Ling Ling. And then Lena was there, but she didn't really participate. So Lena's big thing is that, okay, my mom was a drug addict and I want her in my life and I'm worried about her. I need to find her and make sure she's okay and take care of her. So, and that is kind of, and Lena's very shy, so she likes to drink that's when she lets more of who she is come out. She's kind of introverted. But my thing is, okay, so, and then she admits that her mom has like over 10 kids, like 11 or something, but that her and her sister are by the same father, apparently. But it's just like you are putting your life on hold kind of to look after someone who is basically kind of, I don't know, maybe a lost cause. If you've got 11 kids and you didn't raise any of your children, you've been on and off the streets doing drugs, man, there's only so much I'm going to be doing for you. But I get it, that's your mom. And Lena goes to a psychiatrist for personal growth, and that's a good, and she was referred by a friend, and that was good to see. And she opened up to this person. She talked about that on the show. I just felt like Lena's character was not somebody who was really interested in leaving the business. I think she said it, but she didn't really have, she's distracted by her mom. So I'll say that. Labrie likes to show up fashionably late. She has this makeup line that she wants to get off the ground. She seems very serious about it. She likes Stormy and she takes to Stormy, and she sees that Stormy's giving her opportunity that she wouldn't necessarily usually get. Angel Cake is open to that as well. And, Miss Dime is open to it too. So she listens. But it's just interesting. Like Miss Dime has a spiritual advisor, and she tells Stormy about it, and Stormy starts laughing. She goes, "You're so blonde. You're so Hollywood." But then the girls all meet with her spiritual advisor, and when Stormy meets with the spiritual advisor, she, it kind of humbles Stormy a little bit. So that was interesting to watch. She told Stormy to just be quiet and listen. Like, we know you're the alpha, but you gotta listen sometimes, because sometimes you can be off-putting to people. And Stormy mentioned that she's very successful, but, there's something in her life that she is missing. So you have to watch the show to find out what that is. So I'll say that. And then, we get to see Lily's daughter, and we find out what's going on with her love life and what's been going on with her in general. So watching the show, even when I watched the trailer, I got the impression that everybody wants to get out of the game. So, and everybody's hungry to get out of the game. They're doing what they need to do, but they want to do more, and they want to be seen as more and respected as more. But some girls show that and other girls don't. And I guess that's the beauty of the show, is that Some girls do and some girls don't, and you'll have to tune in to see what happens. I will say this, though, like I was talking to my friend about it the other day, is that what are the odds that this mentor who used to strip, who's a millionaire, wants to show you how to make your money and keep your clothes on? Because she states at one point that, your looks won't last forever. You don't want to be in the club because you have to be stripping. So my thing is, Stormy, yeah, like I said, she's an alpha female, and yeah, she can be rough around the edges, but the thing is that, she had to be that way because of her background and because she's a businesswoman and because, it's important that she's always taken seriously. So I get that to an extent. But my point is that, Stormy Wellingtons don't fall out of trees. So, what are the odds that anyone else is going to want to befriend an exotic dancer and want to take them out of the club and show them how to make money and while keeping their clothes on? Those type of people just don't show up in your life. So my point is, if they do, embrace them and swallow some of your pride. So, so I like this show. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with in the second season. If any of these girls will come back. And in the last episode, we got some conclusions about what happened with the girls. In the second season, will there be a whole new set of girls with some carryovers from the first season, or is it just a whole new set? And will Stormy be the mentor still, or will it be somebody else? But I'm enjoying it. I think it's a great show. It's written very well, very believable, very intriguing. So we'll get into more TV after this break.
Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
And once again, you're listening to Golden State Media Concepts television podcast. This is Captain Keith speaking. And we just finished wrapping up Beyond the Pole, the Urban Movie Channel, UMC.TV, the network, that new TV series. Like I said, great series. I liked the first season. Biggest complaint, 6 episodes, wish there was more. But I was thoroughly intrigued. So I'm looking forward to seeing how season 2 goes. And now I want to talk about Haven. It's an excellent series that was a Sci-Fi Network original show. It is based off of Stephen King's novel, The Colorado Kid, which is actually like a short novel from Stephen King. And let me give you the premise of, and this is a series you can watch on Netflix, all 5 seasons. Let me give you the synopsis. Many in the coastal town of Haven, Maine, have a dormant curse or trouble that could trigger at any time for any reason. FBI agent Audrey Parker, the sheriff, and the town's black sheep must deal with the trouble's deadly effects. And it stars, the creators are Jim Dunn and Sam Ernst of the TV series. It stars Emily Rose as Audrey Parker, Lucas Bryant as Sheriff Warnos, and Eric Balfour as, what's his name, Luke? No, as Duke Crocker. So Lucas Bryant plays Nathan Warnos, Eric Balfour plays Duke Crocker, and Emily Rose is Audrey Parker. So basically, Audrey gets sent to the small town to uncover a mystery, and what you find out is that the boss who sends her, he's tied to it as well, but she doesn't know it yet. So, and what's cool about this show, what I really liked, is that, can you imagine living in a small town and it's basically relatively peaceful, and all of a sudden something triggers and all the people in the town find out that a lot of them are cursed and they have deadly type of powers that can be that could kill people. killing your loved ones and killing other people. So, and the nickname for the problem that they're having, or the nickname for the powers that they develop, is the Troubles. So Audrey finds out with the help of Sheriff, Nathan Warnos, and Duke Crocker, that it's a lot deeper than people realize, and that for a while the curse was dormant. I can't remember what triggered the curse to come back, but it does trigger. And there's a few little things you find out. Duke and Nathan used to be like really good friends when they were younger, and then at one point they weren't friends anymore, and Duke was considered kind of like a bully to Nathan. So they have a very strange relationship. Duke and Nathan. Duke winds up, he has a bar that he owns. He keeps to himself for the most part. I mean, yeah, he's not always on the straight and narrow. I mean, he likes to make money in enterprising ways. And Nathan is the exact opposite. He's just a do good, do right sheriff. And Audrey comes into town and they don't know what to make of her. And then Nathan's father is the head sheriff, and his relationship with Nathan is just kind of strained. And there's these two guys who are brothers, Vince and Dave Teagues, and they run the local newspaper. It's John Dunsworth as Dave Teagues and Richard Donut as Vince Teagues. One is real tall and one is real short, and they're brothers, and they're funny. When they see Audrey, they feel like they recognize her, but they don't say anything to her. Audrey's not aware how crucial of a role that she'll play in the town of Haven. And what you come to find out is that the Teague brothers, they know more than they're letting on. They have history in the town. And Duke, Nathan, and Audrey are pivotal figures in this TV series. Duke finds out that his family have been cursed with the task of killing those people who had the Troubles. So, and if it gets triggered in Duke, then that's what he's supposed to do. His eyes get all white, and he has to go out and kill the people who have the Troubles, who are harming the society. So that's been passed on throughout his bloodline and his family. And he finds that out, and of course he's not happy to find that out. Different things happen, like a mysterious woman appears, and basically what happens, like Duke was supposed to go on a date with Audrey. She stood him up, and so another woman who has a trouble situation where she metamorphosizes into a whole different beautiful looking woman who people don't recognize. She pops up at Duke's bar, sees Duke, and they start talking, and next thing you know, he sleeps with her, and then she has a baby the next day. That's what the Trouble did for her. That's what the town curse did for her. And Duke can't be next to the baby because if he does, it'll kill him. So, and it has something to do with the condition of the mother. So he has a daughter, and it's just really strange. So the daughter has to leave town, and he can never really see his daughter because if he sees her, it'll kill him. So that is trippy, and all this happened because Audrey stood him up. Basically, he was I guess his ego was wounded, and there's a lady there who was willing to stroke his ego, and he had no idea what he was getting himself involved in. So I guess the message to that is safe sex and be more scrutinous about what you're doing and who you're doing it with. So I mean, that's something that happened. I mean, there's all kinds of different crazy things that happen to people in this town, and Audrey and Nathan are tasked with finding it out and trying to solve the problem. And then Duke reluctantly gets dragged into the whole situation because he has ears on the streets, and a lot of times it'll affect him and maybe his place. So there's kind of like this triangle going on. And what's interesting with that too is that Nathan has a secret that eventually she finds out about Audrey, and then Duke didn't even know, and that Nathan's nerves, he can't feel anything, literally. So you can hit him and he doesn't feel the pain. And the only time he ever feels anything is when he kisses Audrey. How convenient, right? But, it works. So it's just really interesting that that's the trouble that he's cursed with. That, his nerves are numb. You can pour hot water on his hand and he won't feel it. So can you imagine walking around in your life and you can't feel anything? Wouldn't that make you like emotionally numb? And that's kind of how his life seems to be. He likes being a sheriff and he's kind of standoffish, but you kind of know why now, because he just can't really feel anything. So it's just, and he's been keeping that really to himself. So it gets really crazy. So and then more of the storyline about Audrey. She has no past. She has no family. She was raised in an orphanage, so she lives for what she does best, being an FBI agent. That's why Audrey Parker is sent to a distant Maine village called Haven to investigate the crime of a prison fugitive. What she does not know is that her past is connected to that village and that old threats from the past are coming back. And she's going to be a central piece of everyone's life or death. And that's true. Like I said, when her supervisor or her boss sent her to Haven, that was on purpose. He knew what she was going to find there, even though she didn't. And she comes into contact with him later on in the show. So, it's the chemistry between Duke, Nathan, and Audrey is fun to watch. Sometimes they get a little bit competitive too, because Audrey's the most interesting person in the town. She's very straightforward, and she's nice, and she's she's funny. She's very likable. Probably the most likable FBI agent I've ever seen on TV. So I definitely do like watching her interact with everybody in town. Very calm and cooling. And she's there to help. And the people of town, they're at odds ends because they don't want to believe that this is all happening. That people are getting cursed and becoming monsters and killing people, running off. And, as a sheriff, how do you explain that in your police report? And Duke is like, I just want to be left alone. But at the same time, I can't say no to Audrey. She's the only woman here that, hasn't really succumbed to my ways, which makes me like her even more. And she likes flirting with me and dealing with me. But, she's all over it. She's all about, Mr. Do-Good. Do-Good. What's the... Good body. What am I looking for? What's it? Mr. Straight and Narrow. The good guy, Nathan. And other things happen, like family members pop up who people don't expect to ever see or even meet or even know that they have, and they throw a loop or a wrench into the Haven program. Audrey's having dreams. There's shacks that appear and disappear, and then these shacks may have information about what's going on and how to cure the troubles. So, because the troubles were gone for over 100 years, and now that they're back, it's just all bad. But I really loved this show. It was a great show to watch. I like the intro. It's just really cool, very dark and very interesting. And Stephen King does make a cameo in the TV series, which was cool to see. So it's nice to know they got his blessing as well to do the show. But yeah, if I could go over any, let's see. But Emily Rose is great as Audrey Parker. I look forward to seeing her do something else soon. I don't know what, but I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen Eric Balfour in a while, and I don't know what Lucas Bryan is up to these days. Sometimes these cats just disappear on you, But it's definitely a great show. And actually, there's 5 seasons on Netflix. If you're looking for something different and new, if you want something Stephen King, if you're a Stephen King fan, check it out. If you're curious about Stephen King, check it out. It's based off of his one book called The Colorado Kid. So, where I believe a kid winds up missing. So There's never a dull moment in Haven. All 5 seasons were worth watching. And you find out that the 3 people, their fates are tied together, but there's also going to be some other things going on with their fates. Will they all survive? I'm not going to tell you. You got to find out for yourself. But we'll be back and we'll talk about Luther after this break. And once again, that was on the Sci-Fi Network, but you can watch it on Netflix, all 5 seasons. You'll love it.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we're back. Once again, you're listening to GSMC's television podcast. This is your Captain Keith. And we were talking about Haven, the Stephen King series. So before we wrap that up, let me read you. I want to just read some of the, give you a little feel for some of the episodes in the first season. So FBI agent Audrey Parker tracks a federal prisoner escapee who mysteriously dies shortly after reaching his hometown in Haven, Maine. So then in the second episode, while Audrey tries to settle in as a Haven local and as a new police officer in town, she and Nathan investigate the seemingly random destruction of a local bar. When other strange events begin to occur, even targeting Audrey herself, they must race to figure out what the connection could be and what or who might be making them happen. So, and then the third episode was Audrey and Nathan investigate an upheaval at the local psychiatric hospital where something happened to make the patients normal for a time but sent their doctor into madness. As they track down the escaped patients, Audrey and Nathan discovered that whatever caused the temporary reversal has begun to spill across all of Haven, making normal townspeople go dangerously insane. So this is the type of stuff that happens in this town. So the people in the mental hospital get their mental faculties back, and then the staff goes nuts. And then basically the town starts to go nuts. These are all considered the troubles. And, what has triggered the troubles? Why are they coming back? And then Audrey sees an old photo in the local newspaper of a woman who could be her mother. She decides to investigate her family origins. Meanwhile, she and Nathan look into an epidemic that threatens the town's livestock and fields. So all that's happening. So when she sees this photo, she's like, okay, so was I born here? So, and like I said, there's lots of things going on. The brothers who own the newspaper, they're holding out. There's a lot they know about that they're not talking about. And not just them. There are people in town who have met Audrey who know more than what they're saying. And Duke and Nathan are just kind of clueless in that regard because they're not in on it. They're not in on it. But it's a really cool show. Like I said, I'm probably going to buy it now that I think more about it because I really enjoyed that TV series. It was really cool. Written very well. So that's it for Haven. Yes. Just when we thought it was over, they brought it back. So happy. Luther, starring Idris Elba. BBC, baby. BBC. British Broadcasting Company. That's right. DCI, also known as Deputy Chief Inspector John Luther, is a near genius murder detective whose brilliant mind can't always save him from the dangerous violence of his passions. You see that in the first episode of the first season. when he goes after a kidnapper. Oh, man. A kidnapper, a murderer. Oh, man. And when he caught him, that's all I want to say. It was a priceless scene. It was a priceless scene. The conversation that was had and what happened afterwards. That's all I'm going to say. But, you got a good show when the first episode just gives you a punch and you're like, whoa, didn't see that happening. I felt that way with Luther, and I felt that way when I watched 10 Star on Amazon Prime with Tim Roth. Looking forward to the second season. Yeah, that's coming. Oh, yeah. So I digress. So they did 4 seasons of Luther. What will we say about Luther that what made it special? So this, now mind you, Luther is all before. I believe that the TV series Luther from the BBC with Idris Elba is one of those TV shows that was a jump off for other great dark detective shows to come afterwards in England, off the BBC or whatever, maybe Acorn or whatever network they were using, like Bancroft, Killing Eve, great shows. But I feel like they owe an allegiance or some love to Luther. I think Luther was the starting point for all these other dark, gritty, surreal shows, or cerebral shows. Yeah, I definitely feel that way. And why do I feel that way? Because when we watch Luther on BBC, like especially that first season, he's a great cop. He definitely has a dark edge. His marriage is crumbling. He wants to save it, doesn't know if he can. And he comes across a murder scene where there was a survivor, and it was the daughter. The mother and father were killed. And Luther figures out that the daughter's the one who did it. Her name is Alice. And Alice is the psychotic sociopath who's bored with people, who thinks that most people aren't on her level. And unfortunately, a lot of times they're not. But just because you're smarter than anybody else, or because you might be the smarter person in the room, doesn't mean you gotta go kill people. It's not cool. So when Luther figures out that Alice killed her parents, he can't prove it, though. She covered her tracks very well. But when she sees that he sees her, there's this madness in her eyes and this glare that she gets and the smile that she has. And they basically kind of start flirting with each other. And I really, really, really love this dynamic in television where the good guy, the good guy cop, who's a good guy, but he's a little dark and kind of, he's a little bad too, actually. He's attracted to this murderer. There's sexual tension between the two of them, and she thrives off of him being the only one who sees her for who she is. And he's not fazed or flinched by it. And it gets really interesting because she basically, she even threatens his wife. And that's when he gets really mad. But it's a cat and mouse game. But I tell you that dynamic made the show even more special. And it was definitely, I think, an influence in shows like Bancroft and Killing Eve, where the good guy or the good girl, has an attraction to the villain. Because, the only other time we actually kind of saw that was like with Batman and Robin, with Batman and Catwoman back in the 60s. And they played it safe with that, but you got the vibe and the feel for it. So, really enjoyed the first season with Alice and the second season. And then the third season and the fourth season of Luther were just okay. I was a little disappointed. Now, I did enjoy the different crimes and murders and how they were done and how you have to find these people. All that was very intriguing. How they were being executed, how scary and sinister they were, and how Luther was always a good detective. His life was crumbling and falling to pieces, but he's a good detective. That was never in question. However, he also has to deal with colleagues who don't like him or don't trust him, or they think, because, Luther is not always by the book. He gets the job done, but it's not always by the book. And that's what kind of makes him special. I mean, is that he's able to blur the lines and get the job done and do what needs to be done. So there that is. But I was very intrigued, like I said, with his relationship with Alice. I didn't see that coming. Having this woman who is a psychotic sociopath who basically, killed her parents, and she did, but you can't arrest her. But now she wants to play with you. I mean, does she see the darkness in you as well? I mean, she wants to play. And Alice, the character's name is Alice Morgan, and she's played marvelously by Ruth Wilson. Does a great job. So, really enjoyed that. So there's 5 seasons. Definitely now with the BBC, when you watch a TV series with them, a lot of times they only give you sometimes 5 or 6 episodes and they'll be done. I don't know why they do it that way, but they do. So when we got season 5, I was pleasantly shocked and happy at what I saw. So, and I'll go into that now with season 5. So when a series of seemingly indiscriminate killings become ever more audacious, Luther and new recruit DS Catherine Halliday are confounded by a tangle of leads and misdirection that appears designed to protect an untouchable corruption. So that's happening. In the first episode, this person is walking home at night, and there's this guy that she knew who was hitting on her, and she's just like, leave me alone. And then she keeps walking, and she gets to her home, and she thinks the guy's following her. And the guy did follow her to an extent, but then he turned around, and then there was someone following him, and he started freaking out. So he runs to her door because he's fearing for his life, and she won't let him in. That guy winds up being dead. The guy who was harassing her. So, and then there's another scene that you see in that first episode where you see, you hear a laughter noise in someone's home. This lady walks into her living room and she sees this naked guy with this mask on, just like laughing and giggling to himself. It's really creepy. So you kind of get the idea, okay, maybe this guy's the killer. So, because what happens, like I said, the guy who was harassing the one lady, who she wouldn't let inside her house because he was running, he gets killed. So now that's a whole new case for Luther. So they got to figure out, why this guy got killed and how come, the lady didn't call the police. She just thought this guy was just harassing her because she wanted to get laid, and that's not what. Maybe how it started, but that's not how it ended. He got murdered. So, and that's what's cool about this show is that they find a way to do really eerie stuff like that. Another scene, the murderer is on the bus, but no one knows. There's a woman on the bus and with a whole group of people, and then they're all getting off the bus, and the woman's left, and you see the murderer, he's got this creepy mask on, come from behind a back chair in the back of the bus, and he starts walking towards her, and then he goes to kill her. And then, there's somebody driving the bus. I'm like, well, what's the bus driver got going on? So by the time they go look at the footage, he killed the bus driver and he killed the girl. And, you're just like, nobody saw this guy get on with the mask. Or did he come on and he didn't have the mask on at first? So real creepy. And then, Luther's minding his own business and he gets kidnapped at one point in this season. And he's getting beaten. And the guy beating him is asking him all these questions. And Luther's like, why are you asking me these questions? And the guy's like, well, you know what you did to me the last time. He goes, okay, yeah, that was wrong, but I thought we got past all that. So Luther doesn't know what's going on. He just knows that this guy's kidnapped him. He doesn't know why. So eventually, throughout other scenes throughout the season, we find out in the backstory why this guy kidnapped Luther. He kidnapped Luther because of something. Well, I'm not going to. You have to see it for yourself. But rest assured, Luther was innocent in this regard. So, it's a race against time to find out who's doing all these things. Luther must confront a demon from his past as the police and Cornelius converge on his home. Halliday is convinced the body in the morgue isn't that of the killer. So yeah, so what happens too is that you find out that there's a psychiatrist who's been seeing somebody, and they believe this person, the psychiatrist who's been working with, is the killer. And you realize it's the same lady who saw that naked dude in her living room, sitting on the floor laughing with a mask on his face. So you know she's involved somehow. So it gets really interesting. We'll talk more about Luther after this break.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And once again, you're listening to Golden State Media Concepts television podcast. This is your Captain Keith speaking, talking about Luther season 5. Just came out this year. Very great season, though. It's definitely worth the wait. My only complaint, wish I could have had more episodes within the season. So the guy who kidnapped Luther, basically you find out that he did something that puts himself in a situation that's not good, and now that's affecting Luther. And then something from Luther's past comes back to haunt him. He's got to deal with it and still try to catch this killer who's killing people. And as I was saying, the psychiatrist, she's definitely someone to watch in this series because she's tied to the killer in more ways than one. She's definitely not being honest with the police about her involvement in all of this. And there are things in play that once they're in play, a chain of events happen that can't be turned back. And the question of, they say there's no honor among thieves. Well, let's just say that statement gets truly tested in this season with Idris Elba. And I will say that there are some great surprises for you when you watch this 5th season that you don't see coming. And there are also consequences too that you don't see coming. And when they showed like the cover art for this season, the photo of Luther, it said this is gonna hurt. I was like, ouch. They weren't lying. By the time I finished watching the last episode, I was like, ooh, that did hurt. That hurt hard. And I was just like, it's a definite thrill ride. And I will say this too, new characters that I liked who were very endearing to me was the new DS Catherine Halliday. Now Luther's colleagues think, oh, she's a watchdog. Well, and his boss is like, well, she's great and she's nice and she's gonna be watching you. So it's a different generation now. So just be on your best. And when it comes to the job, Luther really is on his best. It seems like all he has left in his life right now is the work. And I'm sorry, I was just thinking about what I just said. Just looking at it. But yeah, I mean, his life seems like it's just kind of very lonely. But like I said, there's some monkey wrench that get thrown in to change things. And you ever hear the expression, don't poke the bear? Well, someone pokes the bear, and then they have to deal with the consequences of that in the show. And then, people all have secrets within this season, and those secrets cause distrust, and they also cause a chain of events to happen that could have been avoided, but because there was mistrust or people weren't fully honest, things go crazy and get out of hand. So within this season, Luther has to deal with on two battlefronts. He's got to find a killer, and the guy who had kidnapped him, who eventually lets him go, he's got to deal with that because that's unfinished business too. And things just get really bad. But it's great to watch, and I really, really enjoyed the show. So I'm happy about that. Very much so. And like I said, there's a surprise that I want to tell you about so bad, but I won't. That really made my day by the time I got to, I think it was the end of episode 1. Yeah, the end of episode 1, season 5. There was a nice surprise that just made my day. And it just made this season one of the better seasons. Season 5 is up there with 1 and 2. Just great seasons. That's all I'm going to say. But, all Luther has right now is the job. And he wants more, but, he's so caught up in the job and dealing with that, he doesn't really know about how to go about and get more. So we'll see if he ever figures all that out. So there's some other TV shows that I will be reviewing soon. I want to talk about, but yeah. So I definitely recommend Beyond the Pole. I recommend Haven off of Netflix. Beyond the Pole off of the Urban Movie Channel, UMC TV, and Luther off of. So the first 4 seasons of Luther are on Netflix. The 5th season is brand new, so it's not there yet. So, but if you have cable or satellite TV and you got BBC America, you can watch it there. It's the BBC America television show or BBC show. So other things that I will be reviewing in the future, next to my list is You. I've been hearing great things about that show. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about that. Russian Doll, possibly High Flying Bird, and Dollar with Mads Mikkelsen from Hannibal. Oh, that was a great show. I used to love that show. I'm going to take it from there. So, and let's see. Russian Dolls with, what's her name? Natasha Lyonne, is that her name? Yeah, this is her new Netflix series. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Still have to watch The Homecoming on Amazon Prime. Talk to you guys about that. There's the 2nd season of Patriot on Amazon Prime. There's some stuff on the Hulu too that I still have to finish that last season of Atlanta, so I can talk to you guys about that. And Legion, I didn't finish the 2nd season of that, so plenty of TV to watch, plenty of TV to talk about to you for you guys, most definitely. So let's see if I can get back to Hulu. Because I had that screen up too. The Hulu originals I was looking at. Let's see. But yeah, I will be talking to you guys about Atlanta, because I don't know if I ever talked to you guys about that actually. So I'm looking forward to that. Future Man and the first I probably will dive into Handmaid's Tale. Everyone's been talking about how good it is. I think we already spoke about 11/22/63. That was great. That was like a one-shot season. That's when the guy goes back in time to stop JFK's assassination. So there's another Hulu original show, too, I'm going to check out called The First. It says Sean Penn leads an ensemble cast in this near-future drama about a crew of astronauts attempting to become the first humans, on Mars, I believe. So that should be interesting to watch. I'm looking forward to that. Now, I also want to mention to you guys that, there's some stuff that happened that we didn't really talk about that we should. So, Designated Survivor, which is an ABC TV series with Kiefer Sutherland, plays the president. It's an independent, great show. Loved that show. So, for whatever reason, ABC canceled it, but Netflix picked it back up. So, we're waiting for the next season of that to pop up. Looking forward to that. Let's see. 2 seasons on, so you can watch the first 2 seasons on Netflix. So they're going to be doing the 3rd season, so I'm excited about that. That's an excellent show. Like it a lot. So when you watch this show, you're just like, wow, that's my president. And this is a fictional guy. Kiefer does a great job. So, and then the Sci-Fi Channel had The Expanse, a science fiction show about this mysterious planet and these different rivaling factions, people on planet Earth, the people from Mars and the Belters, and how they're all vying to find out what's going on with this mysterious planet and this mysterious alien DNA that's kind of contaminated and infected people. That's a great show. It's initially starred Thomas Jane. So that show, those first 3 seasons so they're on Amazon Prime now, so you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Amazon picked that show up. I don't know why Sci-Fi Channel canceled it. I really don't know why. But Amazon picked it up, and they're going to do season 4. So I'm excited to see how that's going to be. Since now they're not going to be on the Sci-Fi Network anymore, it can get even more steamier if they want and crazier. So I'm looking forward to seeing when that gets unveiled for us to watch. So, yeah, Netflix came through with picking up Designated Survivor. You can watch the first 2 seasons on Netflix right now. We're waiting for season 3. I guess they're filming that now. And waiting for season 4 of The Expanse on Amazon Prime. So those are things to look out for. Definitely. Is there anything else that I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, like I said, I'm going to watch Dollar. That looks really good. I've enjoyed The Crown. I think I talked to you guys. Did I talk to you guys about The Crown? I can't remember. I have to look at my podcast episodes to see if we spoke about The Crown. I've enjoyed that immensely too. But I'm looking forward to diving into more Hulu stuff for streaming and diving in to some more Prime. Like I said, The Homecoming. I have to watch that. The Romanovs, I'm going to have to check out on Amazon Prime. So there's just a lot of stuff. Let's see. Oh, and YouTube. Still waiting for 2nd season of Impulse and the 2nd season of Cobra Kai on YouTube Premium, YouTube Red. So that should be fun as well. But I love the streaming platform network that you can watch this stuff on your phone and your laptop. I think it's great. It's kind of like revolutionary. Well, it actually is revolutionary, really, when you think about it. It's bypassing a lot of stuff, because what's cool about the streaming platform networks is that a lot of times they're greenlighting shows that you would never get a chance to watch on regular television. So I'm very happy about that. Very. And a lot of times the shows that aren't getting greenlit on regular television that are on the platform networks are the shows that you want to be watching. They're the shows that truly stand out, that are worth talking about. So it's going to be very cool. Yes, definitely looking forward to the 2nd season of Impulse off of YouTube. I have to, The Thinning I'm going to have to watch. So yeah, I got a lot of TV to watch for you folks. A lot of stuff streaming to watch. Origin was good. We already talked about that. Now I'm seeing an advertisement from the minds of Jordan Peele and Charlie Sanders, Weird City. I don't even know what that's about, but I guess I'll be finding out soon enough. Weird City. Okay. So that should be fun. Well, good people of the planet Earth and the known universe, I hope you had a good time. I know I did. I appreciate you all. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Television Podcast. And I promise I'll have some more goodies for you next week. I got lots of stuff to dive into to watch so we can talk about, and we'll get in even more detail as much as I can. But, just enough to wet your whistle. There we go. Well, once again, thank you. Much love. Good people of the planet Earth and the known universe. I love saying that. I really do. And until next time, see you somewhere out in space.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.